Hey, this is Mike. Can you hear me? Check one, two. Check one, two, two. Hey, this is Mike. Can you hear me? Um, I'm gonna put this on silent. Having every technical issue known to man. Hey, can you guys hear me? I tried to use the headphones, so that's not gonna happen. Hey, can you hear me okay? There's the movie Brother. Um, let's add movie Brother. Okay. And movie Brother's connecting. Hey there. All right.
Mike, what's up, sir?
Hey, oh, I get to be on top. Oh my goodness.
That's how we're gonna start
Hey,
out, bro.
I got it. Of course, your skull is bigger than mine.
Yes, yeah, I'm
So
on lift
I
up and
want
down with the
equity.
camera here. Let's do this right here. Let me adjust there. You can
Equity.
can you see me okay?
I can see you. I can hear you. I hope everybody else can. I was trying to use my headphones, but they started playing the it's a mess. So of course, welcome everybody to the Denton Black Film Festival live stream. Brothers talking about the Five Bloods. So let's see who's here. If people can just wave and say what
Yeah, and I'll just
room fills up, what part of the world is
WD
watching.
McNeil, Chef God Bolt just joined. What's up, everybody?
And yeah, we got about 10 in.
Fiji, is that Fiji W? Wade, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, I know.
Los Angeles, LA, what's good?
And I'm trying to, let me reposition. I direct of photography from
What up, Philly?
New Jersey, Philly area. And we got some good light here. All right. I'm very happy.
Shout out from South Denton. What's up, Texas?
Yeah, oh, I saw Jay message earlier today, so that's what's up. I love it. So before we jump in, I guess well, welcome, Ant, aka the movie Brother. For those who don't know your platform, please share, and then I will reciprocate.
Yes, I am Anthony Ant Johnson, the movie Brother. I am a film critic. Been doing this thing for over 8 years now, born out of just at that time I felt like it was a void, right? I wanted to see more film critics that looked like me, right? That looked like myself and Mike. I was sharing with Mike the other day, I think who we are and our life experiences, where we come from, factor into how we're going to feel about a film. I mean, it's as simple as that. So, with my love and passion for film that I've, had pretty much my whole life, I said, man, let me jump into this thing and start sharing my views and critique on film. And I haven't looked back since. So, I have this platform and, I review all kinds of films, just not, Black films. And it is also a place where I do my best to, make it available to those in the industry, right? Whether you're in front of or behind the camera, especially people of color that maybe mainstream media hasn't picked up on. But you got talent, you're doing great things. You have a place here at the Movie Brother. And whether that's a film that you want me to screen and critique, or, you just, whatever you got going on, you got a place here. So that's who I am, man. I'd love, if you're not a follower already, I would love for you to follow me and check me out at the movie Brotha, Brutha, not Brother. I don't know, that might be somebody else's handle, but yeah, movie Brother, that's me.
And they're also affiliated with the AAFCA, is that correct?
Yes, I am also, thank you. I'm also a proud member of AFCA, which that stands for the African American Film Critics Association, headed up by Gil Robertson, vet in the industry. But it's an organization of, folks of color that we're all film critics that are doing things very similar to myself and Mike. If you haven't heard of them, definitely check them out. And that's AAFCA. That's their handle on Instagram, AAFCA. Since the whole COVID thing, right, a lot of different, platforms and content, have been born out of this. So they've been doing a lot of great YouTube, live discussions, roundtables, and, interviewing all kinds of talent from film as well as TV shows. So definitely check them out. Yeah,
and thank you for that. And for me, for those who don't know or aren't familiar, my name is Mike Dennis, aka Mike D, and I started making films, but similarly, there was such a void in my hometown of Philly when I returned to live here full time. I made some, and I eventually got a chance to make some films on mini DV, the played festivals. I noticed that there was a dearth of outlets to showcase work or talk about it. So in 2006, 2007, after running, in 2003, I started a screening series. In 2006, I started a TV show called Real Black TV. And we've, over the years, had the good fortune of interviewing a lot of great artists and filmmakers and talent, trying to use, record our stories, because if we don't tell our stories, no one else will to speak that out. So that's been my job since 2006. And I'd say in the last 4 years, the platform on YouTube has exploded. And I'm very happy to report today we reached our 560,000 subscribers. So,
oh, congratulations.
We're at a very critical juncture. We passed a tipping point for Black film. I think there's so much content out there that is reflective of our identity. That's not my job anymore, to just push everything just because it's Black. But I think we should also have a more critical perspective when it comes to these things, and also try to empower people so that it doesn't all come out the same side of the faucet, So this is a great day this weekend. Spike Lee's latest film dropped in the midst of the coronavirus and the protests and all that stuff, and it's called Da 5 Bloods. I mean, do you want to give a synopsis for folks?
Yeah. And actually, before I jump into that, I do want to make mention of DBFF, Denton Black Film Festival, which, right, they are sponsoring and hosting myself and Mike. So if you hadn't heard of these guys, also absolutely follow them and check them out. Linda, Harry, Edie. They have an awesome festival out of Denton, Texas. Man, it's just that good. I'm from the South, right? I'm born and raised in Texas.
10 or 12 years in.
Yeah. I'm from the South, so we talk about Southern hospitality and all that good stuff. And it's not just me saying it. I know, Mike, you've had an opportunity to attend as well. Man, it's just a lot of love, a lot of good people that attend that event. They have a lot of great films, and I've had an opportunity to participate on multiple levels, from hosting to doing some, behind the scenes things in terms of reviewing films and whatnot. But they have a lot of amazing content, that documentaries, narratives, all kinds of stuff that they get their hands on. And so absolutely check those guys out.
Yeah, and I'm sure Linda and Harry and Alexis and folks from the festival will be watching us.
Yeah.
So are we ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's do it. So
again, I mean, we're not the Black anything. We are Ant and Mike. But if you want to make the illusion, you can say Siskel Ebert. we'll do our best, Siskel and Ebert, for the next however minutes to break down this movie.
That's right. So yeah, let's jump into this thing. And we're going to speak freely on this. Normally, with my reviews and stuff, I don't do any spoilers because I'm anticipating that most likely I've seen the film before you have. But in this forum here, I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, the expectation is, you know, folks that are going to chop it up with us, they've seen the film, so we can pretty much.
Yeah. So
it's fair game.
if you haven't seen the film yet, you might want to log off and watch the replay. This is your official. This is Big Brother, your official spoiler alert warning. We're going to go in on the Five Bloods. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yes. All right. So the Five Bloods, you have four gentlemen, Vietnam veterans, African American men who, right, they served in the Vietnam War, and they decided to return to Vietnam for a couple of different reasons. One, their fallen squad platoon, leader was killed in action and was basically left on the battlefield. So they want to go back and find his remains and give him a proper burial. And then also there's, you know, this whole treasure, right? There's some gold that's been buried and they want their money. Basically, right? And, you know, all of these gentlemen have these different motives or whatnot in terms of why they want the money, but they want, you know, they want to secure the bag, right? As people say today. And, you know, that's what it is. But that's the premise of the film. And, you know, all-star cast, you know, right? With, you have Chadwick Boseman, you got Delroy Lindo, Jonathan Majors, Clark Peters, Isaiah Whitlock Jr., and then you got Norm Lewis, directed by who else? Right, Spike Lee.
Right. And, you know, and Chadwick is Stormin' Norman, who is the dead brother that they're going to recover the remains of. And then, so what's an interesting stylistic point in the movie is, you know, we first are introduced to these characters as older men, but then in the flashback sequence, Spike does something I've never seen before that I can think of. I'm sure it's millions of films, but this is the first time I've seen it where they don't make any attempt to either recast the younger versions of the soldiers and the older versions of the soldiers are played by the actual actors in their real age, but they're flashing back in time. So
yeah.
Also sort of like younger, including Chadwick, but then they're representing themselves in their older bodies as these characters. So I thought that instantly puts you into another realm of how to read this film. So I mean, do you want to go first? I mean, I know you wrote a review. I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
What was your take on this?
Yeah, so yes, I did do a review on this film. You know, a lot of films I'll do a 5-minute roughly or so video blog of my review, and I'll make some of the same points that I talked about that. But if you check out my page, you can see the full-on review. You know, first of all, I'll say I think this film is good. You know, I did enjoy it. Now, you mentioned that the whole thing about with the flashbacks and the, you know, there was no kind of, you know, right, they have the de-aging technology and stuff now too, which actually I think there was a photo that was used in the film where it appears that they did it. But I don't think I've ever seen, well, definitely not from Spike, and I don't know if I've ever seen anyone do that, right? To go back in a flashback scene, but the older gentleman remained, right, the same age. Now, and I think someone sent me a comment saying that there's an explanation out there as to why Spike did it. I haven't seen that yet, but I'd be curious to know. I mean, now just going off a reaction, right? Because that's really what I run with. I'm a film fan, first and foremost. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. It kind of threw me off, and I kept, you know, I was trying to look and search and dig through as to what's the meaning behind that, but it didn't quite work for me. But you know, that's something that's kind of on the technical side from my standpoint. You know, I gotta say, man, I love the story because I have a big issue with a lot of, you know, war-themed films, you know, where, right, American soldiers of World War II to Vietnam or what have you, and the lack of representation of African-American soldiers. And got a big beef with it. I talk about it all the time in any films that fall in that category. And it made me very happy and very proud to see Spike tackle this and say, hey, man, these are all brothers that served, you know, in not only served, but were on the battlefield. And to put a spotlight on that, I like that a lot. I think there should be more of it. And so he had my attention, you know, with that. Right, just the you know, that core piece there. You know, I mentioned the cast. Man, these guys are phenomenal, man. These are all veteran actors. I mean, with the exception, I've maybe seen Norm Lewis in some things in the past, but right, I mean, you look these guys up. I mean, these are all veteran actors. You've seen them in a lot of different things. You know, some great character actors or what have you, and they really bring their A game. Now, I was listening to something over the weekend, and they were talking about how, right, so this film was shot in Vietnam and in Thailand, and you know, one of the actors was saying, hey, I mean, we were totally out of our element, right, with the exception of each other, right, the cast and the crew, which are really thinking the same thing of when, you know, folks that actually served, right, being shipped off to this foreign country, and you're forced to come together. But, you know, they were talking about, you know, it wasn't a situation of when they were shooting, is just how, like, hey, you know, you punch the clock, you shoot your scenes, and then everybody go to the hotel room. You know, they were hanging out, breaking bread together, you know, in the evenings and whatnot. And I think that came across. At least for me, I felt that. I liked the chemistry between them. And, you know, all the things that we are dealing with in this country right now and talk about, you know, it's a lot of, I think, misconceptions that people have about Black folk, Black men, who we are, what we're about, and what we do. And, you know, this film goes, you know, way beyond just, you know, talking about their role in, you know, serving the country on the battlefield. You know, it's a big, brotherhood is a big part of this. You know, relationships, from, you know, just man to man, you know, father to son, you know, father to daughter. And, you know, that was that was big for me too. Delroy Lindo, man, I want to see that brother get nominated for an Academy Award for his performance in this film. I mean, he kicked ass, in my opinion. Did an amazing job. You know, if you're not familiar with this work, anybody, you definitely should. And actually, even 2 other Spike Lee films that he's in, Clockers, which I think a lot of people slept on Clockers, but that's one that I love. And then also Malcolm X, of course. You know, he was oh gosh, what was the character's name? Archie. Yeah, West African Archie.
But Crooklyn, he plays the dad, correct?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he sure was. Thank you. So there's another one. Yeah. So, I enjoyed this film. Started off slow for me. The first half was a struggle. Definitely the first hour. But I hung in there, and the second half definitely made up for the first half. Overall, the film's roughly 2.5 hours. A little lengthy for me, but you know, second half, I was, you know, we were in it, and you know, it's a lot of, as I said in my review, man, I think it's a lot of nuggets in there that I think you know, folks can appreciate.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I would give this movie the same review I've given the last 4 or 5 Spike Lee movies. You're either gonna like it or you're not. And
okay.
Quite frankly, Spike doesn't seem to care. He makes the movie that he wants to make, and he has every right to. There are very few artists that are as prolific as Spike, and you know, he's by far one of my favorite American filmmakers because he is a true artist, and he's sort of like, I put him in the realm of like a Prince. You know, like, as much as, you know, Prince at his greatest, he never stopped working, and Woody Allen also, you know, every 3 or 4 you're going to get a winner, you know, but he's just going to give you what he's giving you. And I think it's more important to him when you, so I would almost give this the same review I gave Black Klansman, and I gave Chirac. You know, there's certain things that just are off rhythm, but you just have to roll with it.
Now let's talk.
Because he treats film as if it's a painting. He's making it as an expression of how he feels, and not necessarily catering it specifically to the palette of what audiences are used to. And you know, some work that he's done over the course of his career, people have slept on, but then you go back and revisit, and everybody knows the big peaks: Malcolm X, Do the Right Thing, School Days. You know, that's his golden era. But then his deep tracks, like a Bamboozle, you know, which just came out.
Yeah.
You know, that movie, I had no way to process at the time it came out. I'm like, what is this mess? But
Yeah.
with age, time, wisdom, you go back and look at it, and it's even, there's so much truth in it that it's relevant. It's still relevant to this day. So, you know, for what you say, justice, the lack of representation, the fact that there really aren't that many films about Black Vietnam vets. It's an important film just on that level to have it made by Spike Lee, and it kind of bookends with Miracle of St. Anna, his other Korean War drama that gave homage to the soldiers, the heroics that we did in the 50s. You know, I think it's a very important film in that respect. Now, if you gauge it against all the Vietnam War movies that ever existed, or even war movies that ever existed, it's not The Deer Hunter. It's not, I mean, it's not a captivating level of on that level of honesty. But I do agree with you that the film, and also one thing is interesting to me about Spike, early Spike had problems with ending a film. Like, you walk out of the theater like, what? Trash can, why, Mookie? And, you know, and you leave puzzled. But the last 3 or 4 movies end so hard and strong, and, you know, brought real emotion to me when everything kind of comes together. But you do, I agree, have to stick with it. The first 30 minutes are kind of a chore, were kind of a chore for me. But he brought it home, you know. So, and that's something that I don't even think most filmmakers not even care about, let alone have the talent to be able to do. So I recommend you see it. And again, I also agree with you. Delroy Lindo is the heart and soul of the movie. He is the spiritual center of what I think the movie really is about, you know. And once the movie starts to give him more screen time and latitude, you know, the different layers of just what he represents as an American, what he represents as a father, the level of trauma that he expresses, and then his denouement is just beautiful, you know. So it's sort of, you know, like it doesn't work for me as a whole, but if you look at his body of work, I think it's another brilliant piece of the tapestry. And he's only chronicler. He's extending. He's taken the torch of Gordon Parks. He's taken the torch of Jacob Lawrence, and he's put it into pictures. What our experience being Black people in America, specifically Black men in America. So, you know, kudos to Spike on this one. But, you know, I mean, if you're expecting a classic Spike Lee joint, you know, I don't know. You know, it might be time to not expect that. Like, let him do what he wants to do. Keep giving him checks.
Well, I'm gonna speak on that, but before I do, I guess I'll ask you a question. You know, I put scores on my films. Like I rate them 1 to 10. You know, now I put a 7 on this film for me. Now I don't know if you do that. If you do, what would you rate this film?
I mean, it's a 6 for me.
Okay.
But I mean, Black Klansman was like a 4 for me. But if you just took the ending off, that's a 10. You know, like Black Klansman, I would have loved to have seen a Spike Lee documentary about Charlottesville more than I would about a guy, you know, all the compromises he had to make to tell that story. You know, so even this story, even though it's about Black GIs, you have an entry point for white audiences with the French Girl and all this other stuff. It's like that, to me, that dilutes the product, but at the same time, that's the name of the game. So Black Klansman, to me, was a travesty if you really want to talk about race and racism until you get to the end. So
Yeah.
This one, the way he interjects his points, and he, you know, he sometimes he writes with a club, you know, like you say, Sam Foley used to say he wrote with a gun or whatever. Like sometimes Spike will club you over the head with his points, but the fact that there's a great story in there, which is sort of Treasure of the Sierra Madre, Heart of Darkness, Apocalypse Now, that's his through line. The fact that he has such great talent to work with. You know, you also, if you look at Spike's work, it tends it's like the stronger his collaborators, the better the movies are. And he's got a great team of collaborators here with his actors in this movie, and they help him win. But, you know, sometimes when you see movies where they're less part of his team, you know, as far as having worked with them before, then you start to see the weirdo Spike moments start happening in the movie, and nobody's there to restrain him, you know. So this is extreme. Yeah. There's no weird ersatz moments that just kind of jump out of the blue. Everything kind of fits together, and by the end, it works for me. But anyway, your point.
Yeah, no. That's all great. I mean, you made a lot of points here that I think I mean, ultimately, I agree with. And even over the weekend, or even before that, you know, seeing this, you know, first, full disclosure to everybody, I'm a huge Spike Lee fan. After watching it, you know, I really thought about how I felt about the film and why. Now, you made a point, and I think this is something that's true in his later work. He is at a point where, and maybe he's always felt like this, but it seems more so now that, hey, I'm going to make what I want to make, right? You mentioned the reference of, I mean, he's an artist, right? He is painting, you know, he has a blank canvas.
He's Alec Kurosawa, if you ask me.
Yeah, and it's, you know, hey, he's earned his stripes. He has a right to make any kind of film he wants to. I feel like Scorsese did the same thing with his last film. It was absolutely about him and his friends and his love for film, and he was going to make that film how he wanted to make it or whatnot. And I think Spike has been doing that for some time now. I mean, from, you know, The Sweet Blood of Jesus to which I did not like at all, to Chirac, I did not like at all. I didn't care for Black Klansman, you know, and I watch all these films, but, you know, they're totally something else. But with that said, I said, you know, hey, you mentioned this, Mike. I mean, you look at his entire body of work, and it's still genius. And, you know, he's one of the best in the game. I mean, it would be no different than, you know, pick your favorite musician. You know, do you like every single record, every single song that they've ever produced? I mean, that's something that's almost damn near impossible. You, in some cases, lucky if you like one. You may write millions of artists out here across the world that maybe, you know, the general public, if you will, whatever, you know, embrace it and fall in love with it. Still art. Is you know, still them expressing themselves in, you know, any way that they want to. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, yeah, it's been a struggle because I mean, I love that, you know, I mean, that's my generation of, you know, early Spike, of Mo Better Blues and Jungle Fever, and you know, some of those other stuff we mentioned, you know,
right,
Clockers, and I mean, Bamboozled is one of my favorites. I've watched Bamboozled, man, probably damn near 10 times.
Yeah, well, that's another dichotomous film, though, like where it plays with the nature of reality and puts you into this thing where everybody in the whole movie is acting fairly normally, but then you have Damon Wayans' performance, which is like just this weird caricature.
Yeah.
You get off of Saturday Night Live or something, and it kind of pulls you off base. And then, of course, experimenting with the different DV versus film, you know, so he's always experimenting.
Yeah.
In the work, and, you know, but then the cohesiveness of the narrative and your ability to suspend disbelief. So I think where this one, you're either on or you're off. The minute it goes from widescreen into the square, and they go to the flashback, and they show the older guys are in battle with the younger version of Chadwick. You're either going to buy into it or not. But what I thought the beauty of it was how just one little scene of dialogue, how they flip and says, like, sometimes the memories, whether it's, you know, you're conscious or you're unconscious, it's still a reality to you. So the fact that we're able to experience this story through the perspective of sort of like a dream state, I thought was very interesting. I don't know if it works on every level visually, because you're still dealing with basically the woods, you know, the nature of Vietnam. We weren't necessarily, you know, we're in the woods a lot. There's a couple shots of the rice paddies and things like that really take us into another realm. But for a lot of it, we were still connecting with our own reality instead of him having the full life take us completely there. But and then sometimes the choices were killing me with the Marvin Gaye. Sometimes he used it perfectly, and then sometimes like, why is this record playing? I'm trying to hear the dialogue.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it's like, you know, Spike just putting more paint where it doesn't need to be right now.
And that club that you mentioned, that club, man, that's you know, and I said that in my review.
Mm-hmm.
The messages is just like, I mean, it was too much for me. Not that any of the messages were not important; they're absolutely all important, and you know, all have, you know, you could take them and turn each one into their own film. But for all of them and to be into one film was a lot. Now, just a little side note, I was thinking about this. You know, I
can't carry this
yeah.
on. No, my Wi-Fi. Just carry on. I gotta find my card.
Yeah. So,
right.
you know, man, I own a lot of DVDs. I don't buy them now, but back in the day I did. And so I have a lot of Spike films on DVD. And if y'all, you know, have DVDs too, you know, they used to put something on there called the director's cut. And the director would sit there and, go through the film. You know, they would have, you know, voice audio over the film and talk about every single scene, what was going on in the background. And I wish, and maybe it's coming. Maybe there will be, you know, they'll release it and do like a director's cut. But I would love to hear Spike do like a director's cut, you know, voiceover on, you know, the making of this film or you know, right through this film, because his are so insightful. And, you know, he references like, you know, other films that maybe inspired him or certain scenes and things like that, which even from watching those, I've been able to find other films to go check out and you know, see some other great stuff out there. So I hope, you know, maybe something like that comes about.
Well, the most obvious things to reference to me, again, Treasure Sierra Madre, this is a template, and then Heart of Darkness and Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the whole we don't need no stinking badges. It's very obvious that he's setting that illusion with the boat going upstream for a while and things like that. But, you know, I mean, did you catch anything else as far as references either to other work or his own previous work that's worth pointing out? And that goes for everyone in the audience too.
Yeah. I'm gonna thank you too, because I need to look through the feed here. I want to pull you guys into, but off the top of my head, no. I mean, not outside of the references that you made. But I do want to point out two particular scenes, man, that were unbelievable. I mean, I really, really loved them. Now, so the scene, right, when you know, their buddy had he stepped on a landmine, right? You know, Lou was Eddie, you know, got blown up, and then his son, Paul's son, played by Delroy Lindo, Jonathan Majors is playing his son. He steps on one, and you know, the French chick is in you know, involved at this point, and her two buddies, and they have an opportunity to save him, right? So there was I just really like the symbology there of the message, because here, you know, it's an opportunity to save this black man's life. And right, they throw a rope around him, and you think about who's all on the line, right? Who's all on the end of that rope? you got young people, you got old people, you got white and black that are pulling for this brother's life. And the way they shot that scene, man, I really, really love that. That was very powerful to me. And then right towards the end, right, where we see Paul has pretty much lost it, man, right? He's separated from the group, and you know, he got tripped up. He you know, all the, you know, the goal and stuff that he was fighting for, that's done, and he's just basically like, you know, Lord, I'm done. And then he sees Storm and Norman, right? Chadwick Boseman comes in and basically, right, he forgives him. You know, right? He pulls him in close. He's like, it was an accident, you know, and you know, seeing that, just that, you know, forgiveness, right? It was obviously, you know, all about forgiveness, but that was a very, very powerful scene too. You could just see.
Well, yeah, that's where the fantasy and the reality coincide with truth. You know, that you,
yeah,
but and that's, you know, it's probably not by accident. You know, Paul's character, he's basically the lead character, and at one point Sam Jackson was attached to the film. I like Delroy in the role because he doesn't suck the air out of the movie the way Sam Jackson would be. You'd almost want, you know, a lot of things that happen in the movie wouldn't work.
Hey, although they did say, hey man, they did say motherfucker about 1,000 times though.
Well, I'm sure that that might have been Sam's copy. Hey, can we add a few more of these in here? That's my trademark. But you know, I like the script. You know, has this role because he brings yeah, I'm back. He brings a lot of truth to, but yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at Nadine's on here. She's saying she's giving it a 10. You know, it's you know, if you're grading on a curve, I don't know. There's no way. I can't go there with you. But if you enjoyed it, and you know, but my standard, we should talk about that also, is like this was supposed to be in theaters, right? If I paid to see this, I don't know. I think I would have a different reaction, quite frankly, to the whole film. But the fact is that this may be one of the last times we see a film with black cast, black characters with this kind of budget. You know, because with the virus happening, I mean, Netflix is making tons of money, but there's going to definitely be a slowdown in movie production for a little while, and then also depending on stock market and things like that, you know, we could see a lot of budgets cut, and you know, they may decide to pull back on some of the way black film is made. You know, so this, you know, when I look at things like this kind of period, I think about pre-World War One. And the best filmmakers were everywhere. Oh, really? I saw it back, the best, but then when World War One hit, Europe had to stop making films. Hopefully I didn't lose my, so this, you know, I'm optimistic, but this could be the pinnacle of this current wave of black film production, is my point. And I love the fact that he, you know, he's 30, 40 movies in, he doesn't take anything for granted. He makes every film as if it could be his last, you know, so that was the thought that
and I felt that. I felt that. It was like, let me just get it all in there. Now that, but you know, what I said, that doesn't really work for me though. And I'm just looking through the feed, like Lex Bolden said a 7, somebody at 6, somebody said a 7 is too low, Mr. J. Simmons. What would you rate it, Mr. J. Simmons, and why? I'll be looking in the feed. Yeah. I think it was a Hip Cinema, gave it a 10. Now for me, I may give 2 10s, the hundreds of things that I see. Just for me, they're really hard to come by because it is perfection. A film is perfect. There's absolutely nothing wrong from it. Every aspect of it was complete perfection. That's how I give a film a 10. I don't have any distractions. There's nothing that makes me want to look at my watch at any point in time when I'm watching that film. That's how I give 10s. And not a knock on this project for me not giving it a 10. Like I said, I'm still saying you should film out. It's good. And absolutely some stuff in there you need to see. But is it a 10 for me? Not.
Yeah, and then also, based on your expectation, comparing to other films, does it do what it set out to do? Where does it work within the genre? I mean, for Netflix, this might be a 10. The bar for me is pretty low on a Netflix experience. But if I had paid money to see this in a theater, I'd give it the same grade, but I'd be like less of a pass, But I think generally, Spike just makes the movies he wants to make. Like Chirac, like Black Klansman turns into his comeback, which is a say comeback. He never went anywhere, but I mean, for a while his stock was low, and Chirac was after Sweet Blood of Jesus, Chirac he does for Amazon Prime, and there was a big expectation about it, and it didn't quite hit on all levels, but then the same collaborator, Kevin Wilmot, and him, they came up with and this would have played at Cannes as well. So is ripe, just the social relevancy, talking about, Black Lives Matter, reparations, just in terms of what, starting off with Muhammad Ali. And then what does gold mean? What does blood really mean? What is sacrifice, and where should the spoils of war be spent? I think those are very legitimate questions that are raised in the film, and throughout the film. Like I said, there was the spiritual of the movie, So we have an opportunity to really explore and think about a lot.
That's another good point about this, man. Well, this is what Storm and Norman wanted, and brothers start saying, well, hold on a second, man. What about my family?
Now you're froze.
They should do it, and if they don't do it, you're a bad person and things like that. Right? Does anyone have a right to dictate what my contribution or your contribution, my people, my society, my family, right? One could argue and say, hey, man, if I'm investing into my family, right? And we like was talking about one could argue and say, hey, by me doing that, I am making a contribution. So we saw some of that in there, and I like that. I like things that, films that make you think, ideas for discussion, or make you see things from maybe a different viewpoint that you didn't see before. Films get points from me, for that, and I think this film accomplished that. Yeah,
and in some ways it works. It's sort of, you could work alongside Chirac in the sense that they took the Greek Lysistrata and updated it to a point where they were addressing issues with gang violence. This is taking a story that we're and layering it with these ideas of reparation, So, and what does reparation mean? What is our country as? What is owed us, and what have we contributed to the society? Just little moments of Christmas. I think, sometimes all you need to do is shine a flashlight on certain things to get people thinking, and then again, the emotion at the end, it just worked for me. Where, but most movies are Big Macs. This one has a little more there to choose. So those are my thoughts. I mean, what are folks saying here? Are people sticking out, hanging out
Yeah,
with
yeah,
us.
that's what I'm just pulling up. So Lex Bolden said were the Jordans on the line, you know, when they were on the pontoon boat, and David was trying to grab those J on the, was that intentional? Love J's, 3s and 4s. I don't know which ones those were, but you know, nod to MJ, Michael Jordan, man, and you know, that whole deal, no doubt.
Do our thing. So you have your top five. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good question.
it felt
What's
like there was a
your,
lot that
what's
needs
your,
to. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
well, for people that are watching, I mean, where, if be where, what would your rating be, and then what's your favorite? Again, you know, who else is doing this work? What are your favorite Spike movies, and where
Oh,
would you
favorite?
rank this? If you haven't already, the folks that are trying texting in.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know, I saw Malcolm X in the feed, obviously. Uh,
The
Someone put something. This was a good point. Yeah, your handle, Thuwayba, THUWAYBAH19. How Norman died. I don't think so. I
it couldn't
think
have been.
that's the only Paul knew how. Yeah, there's no way they could have known. But you know, I think that was part of that. You know, that PTSD, or really maybe beyond PTSD, but just the pain of, you know, him carrying that and the guilt, that he was friendly fire on. But you know, like we saw. I mean, and we saw it play out. There was nothing, you know, that was intentional. It was an accident. It was an accident, but he just didn't. He had so many.
Yeah, he was hiding a lot in his past, and
Norman dies. How the characters dealt with their own. Well, no. Favorite Mike films.
yeah, I think
Okay,
the
so
plot, the story,
Dank Brooks, Do the
I'm
Right Thing,
back. Are you, did
Bamboozled.
you lose me?
Okay, you're back now.
I'm back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. Go
I
ahead,
would say
Mike.
the movie works because the story is tried and true. You know, he has a very strong, he has a structure that works, that he can layer these things on. But that like back on every. It's just a straight racist guy. He really has layers of complexity. You know, between the PSTD, the Agent Orange, what that war meant to him, and then almost like
Favorites, and I'm
it's almost like a Wages of Fear, where like they all have things in aging that they need closure more than anything else. You know, recovering the body,
Mhm.
you know, reconnecting with the, all those things seem to be more important than actual. And I think, you know, whereas Treasure Sierra Madre, the whole, you know, so it's a stronger core story. You know, what happens when people exposed
Yeah.
to greed, you know, as opposed to that, because that to me is secondary. When they're exposed to the money, you know, that's almost not. It's very clumsily done, you know, because these guys are supposed to be loyal brothers, you know. But
I'm just want
respect
to.
to just the OGs and just representing. Yeah. I don't know if my connection. It's break. It's I don't know what's going on
Okay.
because I'm on my
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, but you're
Okay.
pausing.
Okay. So I'm gonna mention. I know some folks put some Spike films in the feed. I'm gonna mention those guys, and I think we can maybe start.
Okay.
Boozle, Jungle Fever, Malcolm X, of course. Mo Better Blues, AW2P. Mentioned that one. Stacy M. Or McClam, Crooklyn. What else?
Experience people have like um
Yeah. I think
you know
we're all on the. I think for the most part on the same page. But hey, man, this has been great, Mike. I've enjoyed getting the chance to chop it up and talk about this film. Other way, so this
yeah.
is good stuff, man.
Well, yeah, I absolutely. Hopefully, you have a chance to do it again. I really appreciate it. I know we have some housekeeping things that we have to say about Denton before. Just say,
Yeah, absolutely. So
you gotta, I mean, to me, Spike can do no wrong. Spike can do no wrong. I mean, because even when he doesn't hit the bullseye, there's always things in his work that make me think, and most movies are not designed to do any of that. And but I think also in his trajectory, this fits perfectly. I just want breakthrough in terms of voices and artistic and creative community. It's never been this great because there's so many things that are socially relevant that are being talked about now. And even though this movie was shot last year, it feels just as relevant. The many Instagram that musicians have been doing, or it's right on time, as far as the issues for me. So but I can't give it. There's no way I can give this a 10. Spike, I'm sorry, man. Deer Hunter, I'm sorry. Apocalypse Now, I'm sorry. MASH. Well, that was not Vietnam, but it was about. It's just. But for a Spike Lee joint on Netflix, it's definitely something that we need to be sharing and talking more about on social platforms.
No, it's good stuff, man. And yeah, if a film can get a 10, oh man,
Riverbend.
What'd you say, Mike?
There are very few movies with Black Vietnam soldiers. So you have Walking Dead. Might have been the first.
I haven't heard of that one. I need to put that on my list.
There's a movie, we have it on the channel right now. It's called Riverbend. It's really super low budget, but it's about a group of Vietnam POWs from the Vietnam War who escape, and they help a town in the South itself against racist police forces. And it's the same people that did Missing in Action movies, which they're mocking in Spike Lee. It's the same director of Missing in Action, but he's got a black lead, and it's set during civil rights. It's really a hidden gem. But and you just turned into Blur.
Check that out. I heard of that one, so I'm gonna.
Yes, we're seeing. But there's a lot to be discussed.
Put that on my list. Yeah, and you know, hey, at the end of the day, I mean, that's the part of just the beauty of getting to, you know, cover this art, man. It's, you know, we all see it in different ways, and I may see something that you didn't see or vice versa. But that's part of us even doing this in the first place, right? Just to open it up. And if a film can be a 10, hey man, that's all, well, it is a 10 for some folks, right? But for me, even if it's not a 10 for me, it's
Now you
still
do
good,
sound
right?
like Ebert. Ebert would. This is a failed pilot. You got to stick to your guns. You got to stick to your guns. You got to
Well,
go
yeah,
down the
I'm
ship.
still a 7. That's my score hasn't changed. My score
You're giving
hasn't
it what you
changed. I'm
got.
just, you know, talking
You're
about
like that
the
bag of
whole score
gold.
thing.
There's no way in hell in real life if a bag of gold got caught in a tree, you'd say, "Oh well, the spirit of my dead friend took it." It's in the spiritual realm. That's the physical gold.
I was saying that I'm gonna get that gold.
You know what I'm saying? But for a movie,
Bro, I'm getting that gold. And after all that, especially after all that, I'm going to secure the bag. Make no mistake about that.
I mean,
so we're gonna wrap here.
Yeah, I got Sylvester, but I'm Daffy in real life. I mean, mine, all mine. I'd get all of the money. I'd go back. I'd shoot a few more people and take their goal.
Oh,
all right.
Man.
Okay, sorry.
So all right. Some housekeeping. Before we wrap. Before we wrap, a couple of things. First of all, thank you again to Denton Black Film Festival, Denton BFF, Denton B. Follow these guys on Instagram. Wonderful group of people. Love you guys. And they have a couple of things coming up this week, right? And now be aware that Juneteenth is this. Okay, so they have 2 events that are coming up. One on this Thursday, June 18th. They are partnering up with Jim Austin Online to present Juneteenth 2020, right? Juneteenth 2020, a virtual pop-up film event. This is a free virtual screening of short films curated by Denton Black Film Festival, and they will talk with the filmmakers about their films and upcoming projects. Sounds awesome. I have details for that. Look for my post. I'm sure they're going to have something on their IG as well, but I will post the link for that. And then after that, on Friday, Juneteenth, they are showing the Miss Juneteenth. All right, this is a free online screening. This debuted at I personally haven't had an opportunity to see it yet, but I heard a lot of good things about it. With this screening, some of the proceeds from this film will benefit Denton, Texas African American Scholarship, providing comments. There's also a link. It's going to be Vimeo, but I will share that link out also. So, you know, you have an opportunity to see the film for Juneteenth. Hey, after you had your barbecue, your potato salad, and all that good stuff, you're chilling with your family and friends. I'm not sure what time they're going to show it, but, you know, I'll put the details up. But what better way to Juneteenth?
Yeah, just follow the same Instagram page
by doing that.
You'll have all that information if you just follow.
That's right. So
and you know, the cat over here could care less about any of this. So it's
yeah,
you know, it's not bothering me. But I know
Yeah.
everyone has lives to lead. Oh, Juneteenth, Miss Juneteenth, not free, but will benefit DBFF. Yeah, so you know, make you know, support all your local arts organizations, and because it's a tough time for everybody. So you know, even if you can't get at it, send a donation if you enjoyed what we're doing, so we can continue on.
Yes, and thank you for that correction. Yes, so my apologies. Yes, not free, Miss Juneteenth, but some of the proceeds from you didn't African American Scholarship Fund Foundations. Still absolutely check that out. Great cause. And yeah, man, thank you guys for your and tuning in and coming in to Kick Mini you know, together and do stuff like this, you know, and provide feedback to us. If you want to see more of this, you know, best thing you can do is let us know, and we can make that happen. This is not a problem. So Mike, you got anything else, brother?
No, it's actually Well, my first Instagram live, we actually have a minute left before they turn the lights off on us. So again, thanks everybody for checking in. And
Okay.
you know, this is going to be repeat viewing for me, and then years from now, I know it'll be another Bamboozled, where even more details will start to emerge in this film. It's good work, but and you
What's
know,
up?
follow us both.